Good morning. Like he said, I'm Scott Gaines. I'm the Assistant Director of Maury County Schools. Just to give you a little bit of my background, I started out teaching, well, first of all, I'm a product of Maury County. I was born and raised here except for Army tour in Germany and a combat tour in Afghanistan. I've lived in Maury County all my life. So I was born and raised here, graduated from Central High School, went to Middle Tennessee State University, graduated with a BS degree in elementary education, started teaching at Highland Park Elementary School, where I went to school, taught there for about 6 years, transitioned to Whitthorne Middle School, and I taught 7th grade there, taught math, and coached football. After that, I completed my master's degree in administration and supervision from TSU, and then got a job as an assistant principal at Spring Hill Elementary. I was an assistant principal at Spring Hill Elementary for about 5 years before getting a job as principal at McDowell. Stayed at McDowell only a year. It was a great year. The elementary supervisor retired, and then about that time, Eddie Hickman transitioned into director of schools, and he twisted my arm to come up and be elementary supervisor, and I was elementary supervisor of instruction for 6 years, and then after that I became assistant director of schools and have been in that position for 2 years. I'm going to give time for my presentation today is really about how you guys can help us get involved in schools. So it's not really about the school system in general. I will give a few demographics, but I'm going to talk about one topic and talk about STEM in the state of Tennessee and in Maury County, and talk about how you might get involved in that and help us implement STEM in our system. And so we're going to talk about that, but I'll kind of leave some time for questions, and it'll just be kind of an open forum. Now, I may be able to answer some of those questions, or I may say, hey, I'll get back to you. So our school system right now, as of today, we have about 11,900 students enrolled. About 400 of those are pre-K students. We have 21 facilities. We have 3 9 through 12 high schools, 4 5 through 8 middle schools. We have 10 pre-K or K through 4 elementary schools, and we have 3 unit schools. We have 3 of the 6 unit schools that are left in the state of Tennessee. So that's pretty unique for us. Then we have 1 alternative learning center that makes 21. Today, I'm going to talk particularly about just some, I'm going to talk about the Tennessee Strategic Plan, and I'm going to talk about STEM in Maury County. Now, some of you, if you were in the, with us at Columbia State, I think Dr. Wiles talked to you a little bit about STEM, and she gave you a handout. But I'm going to go over it again. STEM is about science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. It is a different area of study that involves collaborating and implementing all of these different areas to help us educate the whole student and to create an environment where the student is problem solving, doing critical thinking, and I'll show you another slide in a minute where it talks about this way of learning, or STEM, is a way forward, is a way that our students need to be learning, and the way they need to be prepared for the next century. Just to talk about briefly from the state of Tennessee, our Department of Education's presentation, it talked about that we have a gap between the number of students that are prepared for those STEM type jobs and the number of jobs that we will project in the coming years. So this strategic plan of STEM allows us to try to work together to come up with ideas, projects, innovation hubs, those things like that in Tennessee, so that we could have places to prepare our students. I'll give you a second to finish reading some of that if you're not finished yet. Okay, the vision for STEM is that we will lead the nation. We want to be the not only the fastest growing nation in terms of our education achievement, but we also want to lead the nation in STEM knowledge, skills, and practices.
Where we rank currently?
There's probably no ranking so far as STEM right now, because that STEM's kind of been around for a little while, but it's kind of just now people are gaining an awareness. There's always been manufacturing, there's always been technology, there's always been science jobs, there's always been, you know, all those types of jobs, but now it's kind of put it all together to give kids not just doing math or not just doing technology or not just doing science, but creating activities and problem solving where they're doing it all together. And it's just that why we need to change. If we get more interest and achievement in STEM, we'll, of course, with that interest, we'll have to have more STEM taught teachers, and teachers will have to teach in that way. Hopefully, over time, we'll reduce that talent gap where the students, when they leave high school or when they leave their post-secondary work, they'll be prepared for these types of jobs in our environment. Many of you know technology is, and those type things are gradually replacing what humans can do, and we have to be prepared in other ways other than just human labor. We have to be prepared to problem solve and create other ways to succeed. There are 4 goals basically. One of them talks about one of these, why I'm here today, is increase student interest, participation, and achievement in STEM. Our STEM Innovation Hub, like it talks about, is in Nashville. There are ones all across the state, as you can imagine. Nashville, Knoxville, Memphis, Chattanooga are all the innovation hubs. And what happens there is a place where groups of people can come together and learn more about integrating STEM. They are a place where you have different schools that apply for grants, and they have STEM academies or STEM schools, and they do different types of STEM activities. They share those activities, and then we're able to gain from that. Second, this is kind of a longer term program to trying to look at how we can prepare teachers to be ready when they come out into the workplace to be a STEM teacher. Increasing the amount of quality professional STEM development that goes on in our schools, and just looking at supporting school leaders and integrating STEM into the curriculum. Because it's not just, like I said before, it's not just we're just doing science or we're just doing technology or we're just doing math. It's an idea of that when we do math, we're going to integrate science, we're going to integrate technology, and we're going to integrate those types of problem solving that we would do in engineering and those things like that, so that all of those activities take place in every subject. And hopefully eventually, you know, you would have a subject flow where a student is maybe problem solving or looking at situations and using all of their skills or all of their knowledge to solve those problems or create new ideas. As we integrate the Common Core state standards, that's kind of how they're based. Of course, it just talks about increasing more STEM opportunities, trying to create partnerships between business and education where we can create more opportunities for students to do those type things, to use those skills and knowledge that they've gained from teachers and from you guys to be able to increase their STEM talent gap. And then just building community awareness and support for STEM. And I'll talk about some things that we have done, that we started, and some things that you might be able to help us with today. In Maury County right now, we have some STEM classrooms and we have a STEM committee, and I'll talk a little bit about some expansion of STEM. Just to talk about some of the classrooms, we have Project Lead the Way. It's a pre-engineering classroom in Spring Hill High School. And the students, you can see the courses there that the students take there at Spring Hill High School. Another one, we have a STEM Academy at Mount Pleasant High School. We had the opportunity to apply for a school improvement grant, and part of that, with part of those school improvement grant funds, we created a STEM Academy at Mount Pleasant High School. So you can see the courses there that those students are taking, And also through our career technical programs, we were able to, as we have CTE programs, we look at what student interest is and what the needs are from the community and what the state needs and those things like that. And then we try to create the programs that will be the best fit for our students. So this technology engineering education at Santa Fe Unit School was one of those outgrowths of that program. We were able to close some other programs that didn't have that much interest and turn around and use those funds and things to create this program. So it's a technology engineering program at Santa Fe, and you can see the courses there that those students are taking. And then we have, of course, other opportunities in career and technical education through agriculture, cosmetology, criminal justice, construction, and health sciences. Now, all of those aren't at every school. We try to create, depending on the interest, how we can support different programs at each school. Some of the things we look at now, we look at some students may leave one school and travel to another one to take, say if they want to be in construction. That may be what they do. They may show up at Central for the construction class, but they may be a student at Mount Pleasant. We have students who are, we didn't have the numbers to keep our automotive program at Mount Pleasant. However, we did have numbers countywide with our county and others to keep the automotive program at Northfield. So we have students now that go to Northfield for our automotive program. So they're able to continue that automotive program. And we continue to look at ways that we can continue to support those type things, because students are seeking all types of things. We try to look at their interest inventories when they take their Explore in 8th grade, and then we try to counsel with them to see if we can expand their interests. Some students are going to, go on to college. Some students are only interested in going into some 1-year or 2-year program to gain some knowledge so that they can go to work. Some kids are ready to go to work, and some kids are interested in some things like that. So we want to have a variety of things that our students can seek out and learn, and also still achieve that post-secondary education. We do have a STEM committee. Kara is on our STEM committee, and we've just kind of gotten started. It's just a few of us. It's myself, our secondary supervisor, middle school supervisor, Kara, Susan Chapman, who's our director of career and technical education, and we've gotten together and kind of thought about some things that we could start out doing. One thing is trying to create awareness. Trying to create an awareness about STEM. We have a science fair every year. I think it's that we have, instead of maybe next year, instead of doing a science fair, we're going to try to create a STEM fair where we're integrating those activities. Even this year, we've changed one of our categories. We used to have consumer science, earth science, physical science. We've changed the category to STEM, so that students can participate. One thing we want to do is, one, create more interest in participating, especially among our high school students, because typically everybody participates in elementary school, and then we have less in middle school, and then we have even less in high school. So we're trying to regain that interest and perhaps create some other things where students might be interested in getting in the science fair or the STEM fair. And we hope down the road to have a STEM symposium, if you would, where those students will be able to display those projects or those ideas that they do, and then we'll be able to continue that awareness about STEM and continue those activities. One thing I would like you guys to help us with, one thing we have to do is students have to be able to problem solve and create new ideas, and they have to, they're going to have to do that after they get out of school. And I know what you guys, wherever you work, you often have to collaborate, work together, solve problems, and do those things. One thing that we thought about, that it would be great if different types of businesses, it doesn't have to be a manufacturer, it can be as much as a bank, it can be a a bakery shop or whatever, you all have different types of problems that you come up with. And what we thought we'd like to do, if someone from a business can come to a school, it can be an elementary school, a middle school, and a high school, and think of a problem that they might have and give it to students and give them the opportunity to solve that problem for them. Come up with some guidelines, and when I'm going to pass this out. I think what I want to do is let you guys kind of work in groups, because I think it might be hard by yourself. So it won't be hard by yourself, but it'll go faster if you work here. How about that? What we've done is I gave you opportunity to think, and then y'all kind of shared your ideas. We paired and worked on them a little more. Now you're going to share them. Then I'm going to give you opportunity to relook at it again to see what you think about it. So let's work with that for a minute. If you see the opportunities where if you just gave that to students, and let them talk about that, and you can see the many things they got. You said sub-crew. One, if they're not in construction, they may not know what a sub-crew is. So they would have to think about that. They would have to think about it in terms of, you got somebody for $1 million, how kids are, they're all about money, but you got to think about your ethics too. So that's another thing that we could work on. And then they got to think about how to solve that problem, how they might communicate to others about solving that problem. So, and the students experiencing that you do have those real problems and they do come up, and we have to learn to solve those. It's not just going to work every day and just doing something. You have to collaborate, and you have to work together, and you have to think about those things. That's what we want our students to do, and having that opportunity. If you were the construction manager and you actually came and presented that, and then let the students, stir it around a little bit, and then you came back in a month and say, hey, tell me what you came up with, and then give them some more feedback about, hey, well, that wouldn't work because of this or whatever. They're having an opportunity, one, to experience what construction is like, and two, maybe we got some kids who are on the fence about what they really want to do or whatever, and maybe we spike their interest. And then from there, maybe they can ask you some questions about, hey, well, how was your path? How did you get there? That may help some of our students, because a lot of times we have a lot of our students, we try to keep our students strong in math and science, because, being able to, the more that you are accomplished in math and science, that more you're going to be able to survive college, your first year and all that. The stronger you are in math and science, and also writing, and try to increase their reading skills. So a lot of times kids are really, I take my son for example, he's kind of undecided, so I just made sure he took calculus and all that stuff, and so wherever he decided to do, he would be okay, but a lot of times we have students who decide they want to do something, but they don't even have the background. They say, I want to be a doctor, but they've only taken Algebra 1 and Algebra 2. Well, we know that they need a lot more math to be successful in college to be able to apply to medical school. They have to have it done a lot more. Now, they can get it done, but it's going to take them a whole lot longer, because they're going to have to stay in math a lot longer, and which is going to cost them a lot more money. And they may get discouraged because they do have to do that. So the more that we can help kids, not saying we're going to make them decide by the time they're in 8th grade where they want to go, but the more that if they're interested in something, but we can kind of create that path for them to say, well, hey, if you're interested in construction, you really need to concentrate on this math. We all know, we all got general things. We all need to be able to problem solve and communicate and work together. We all got to do those things, but also kids don't often think about that math and that science and those things that we need to do. Maybe one more. One more group want to share?
This one down here.
Okay. You got volunteered.
Well, we had two alternative hypotheses.
Okay.
Seeing as everyone else was very professional. So actually, you're a farm manager, and you're faced with a drought situation, and so you have to be able to figure out what to do with your crops in the face of this drought situation. So for running prompts, you would, analyze what you have, and then deal with maybe your local extension agent and get material that you would have to research and read through and decide to have that.
Cool. What a great opportunity if we could talk to our third graders at the beginning of the year about that, and then when we take them in the spring to go to farm day. I think we go in the fall now because the snow keeps messing us up. But anyway, if we could visit with them at the beginning of the school year and talk about that. What a great experience for them to actually have talked to a farmer, maybe worked on a problem, and then actually go to the experiment station or go to farm day and actually think about some of the things that they did. I mean, will you guys take some of the solutions? Yes, some of them may turn out really good, but what we want our kids to do is have that experience. And we think that the more we can get guys like you involved, low cost. I mean, this doesn't cost you anything but a little bit of your time. That if you would, say, I'm going to create a problem and I'm going to bring it to a classroom, and we'll connect you with a classroom or with a grade level and let you present that problem and then let the kids work on it. We let the teacher create some academics that go along with it, and then they come back and you come back and they give you some feedback on how it worked or how it didn't work, and you may say, well, hey, that's not what I think, you need to do this, just like they would in real life, that the boss says, hey, that's not quite right, or you got the wrong idea, and then they can come back and work on it again. We'll work on helping them integrate the math, the science, and the technology. You guys can create the problems, and you also know about math, science, and technology and those things that go on. So we can really help our kids. And what we think down the road, maybe if we can get this going, that there will be ideas that will be really great, and there will be things that we will want kids to present. And we could have a symposium and have those kids present those ideas. Maybe you can be there with us, with those kids, sponsoring them or something like that. We'll talk about that later. We always talk about money later, but but there may be grant opportunities where you guys, just because you help us, we're able to get grant opportunities. But that's kind of what we want, and that's with STEM. That's kind of where we are today. It's going to take, with STEM and implementing the Common Core, it's more than just a school effort. It is a community effort. Our kids are going to have to know a lot more and be able to do a lot more. As you know, with the advent of technology, the amount of knowledge that our kids have to know has increased over time, and it continues to increase over time. Probably when you guys came to kindergarten, you had to know what, how to tie your shoes and go to the bathroom? Yeah. Go to the bathroom, tie your shoes, and maybe listen to instructions. Those are things we keyed on. Now kids have to come to school knowing their basic colors, their alphabets, not just A, B, C, D in order, but what A says and recognize A and know that A is an A or B is a B and what the sound it says. So we are expecting a lot. The kids are coming to school with a lot more expectations. So not all of our students come to school ready for that. Not all of our kids are taught to every day or read to every day or have exposure to books and rich language and vocabulary, so they come to school behind. So we have to take those opportunities to try to catch them up, and we try to do so as quickly as we can, as early as we can, so that we can get them ready for more rigorous study. Because after elementary school, you start to gain knowledge through yourself. That's when you read, you change from learning to read to reading to learn. So it's kind of like the sense of urgency is on in elementary school to make sure that kids know how to read, so that by the time they reach middle school, they at least have that in their hip pocket and they can use that to gain access to anything. I'm going to stop right there because I know you might have questions about other stuff. The STEM committee will be engaging you again about how we might go about this process, and we'll work through Kara to do that, and we hope that you will take a chance and get involved, and we'll make it fun. All right, I'm done. That's where the full STEM plan is, how Tennessee wrote it, and what they intend to do, and how it all is, thesin.org, the TSI, the Tennessee STEM Innovation Network.org. I do, if you got time. It is 12:30, and I think this.
Anybody have any questions before we wrap up?
Questions about anything?
Yeah,
Yes.
I got a question.
Sure.
How would you grade the performance if you take a comparative? I know if you take the comparative, I guess students percentage-wise, say at the unit schools versus the other schools, let's say high schools, or even the other, if you want to break it down, even middle school. How would you grade those unit schools versus the other schools?
If you talk about graduation rates,
No.
you talk about just,
Science and math proficiency.
I think it's almost about the same right now.
It's the same? Okay.
It's about the same, yes.
What's the plan for, like my second grader who's in public schools and is getting a fabulous education. But she's really already, technology is a big part of everything that she does every day. So what's the plan about, at what point will she be able to bring an iPad?
As a matter of fact, just today we began a pilot at Hampshire Unit School and Spring Hill High School with students bringing their own devices to school. We looked at different systems and the way they did it, and each one of them started out small. One, because we want to make sure people can work out the issues with getting on the network, because we have to divide our network where we got a student network now, and still all got to be protected. And students, we still have to know where they're going and protect where they're going, because that's the law. So we start out small. We want to do that. So part of that pilot is we have students bringing their devices. They are working on that. We're calling it Tech Tuesdays, and we're going to do that for, I guess, this month and next month. Then we're going to gather some knowledge, and we're going to continue to expand with letting students bring devices more often. And during the day, we know there's some things we got to do with board policy so far as, devices. And so we're going to work on those things, but we're starting small and we're going to continue to expand. But we hope to be allowing all students to bring devices next year. Yes, ma'am.
Students that can't afford it, like the lower income students that don't have those.
As a part of that pilot, we're looking at what students are bringing now, and then we want to see what teachers are working with. Like we had a grant of, first to the top. We had part of that, and part of our initiative is we tried to survey our schools to see what types of technology people have and those things like that. And I'll give you an example. We gave teachers the opportunity to write a small grant for smart boards or projectors, and a lot of teachers got those. Well, and then what we found out later, they came out with a short throw projector that kind of does the same thing with a smart board if you got an app on your phone or on your iPad, and it was a whole lot cheaper. Like that. If a teacher has an iPad, this app's free, and all you need is the projector. When it works with any projector. So that kind of, I say that to say that kind of changes our thoughts about what we were going to buy for teachers to make sure that they have. And now they don't really need a smart board. Maybe they just need a projector, and maybe they just need maybe not that expensive projector. We do have, as old as our schools are, when we mount stuff in the ceiling, that's more plant stuff, and some of our schools are old, so we can't do that. So we look at the short throw projector as a alternative to that, so that the teachers will be able to operate. And that's a long story, went around the block. But anyway, I say that to say the same as we looked at the equipment for teachers, we're looking at equipment for students. We're looking at what they bring, and we're looking at what should we buy in terms of what will be the best fit. Because if we invest in laptops for kids and it's a Windows 7, we're going to keep those for, probably 3 or 4 years. So we want to try to buy the best mix of stuff that kids will have opportunities to use different things. We were working with Verizon has come and talked to us about giving kids smartphones to use at school. There are things like you can come in and a teacher can have a problem up on the board and ask kids to text your answers to blah, blah, blah. Some of your kids, if they do have texting free, they can do that already. But those are some of the things you want to be able to do. We know that a smartphone probably, though, is not the best thing for doing web browsing. So we want to buy other things, too. And what we'd want to do is buy some of those things and have them in the library. And we're still thinking about whether or not we want to loan them to them all year, or whether we want to put them in the library. They can take them. They may check them out overnight, those things like that. Because as you know now, if a kid damages something through negligence, we're gonna make them pay for it. Well, just like you said, a kid that, if he couldn't afford it, he's certainly not going to be able to pay for it, right? So you'll have to look at that. How are you going to replace those losses over time and those things like that? So we're looking at that. And we are going to buy devices that will be available at school for kids. Yes?
As far as safety, I guess you guys are looking at, I got 2 children up at Spring Hill High School right now. And they brought one of those letters, of course, that states that, that gets the information items could be searched, you know,
Yeah.
because they're smartphones or whatever that they're using,
Mhm.
those devices. And they're more or less concerned, say, I don't want them going through my phone or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
What precautions are you guys taking in those?
Well, what the law says that anything brought on school property is considered school property, which means it's subject to search. You know, you see the sign and walk on the door, you're subject to search and see. So what that says that anything, if there is a cause to search it, there's a reason. So you know, I can tell you, we're not going to pick up your phone or your laptop and search it for stuff, unless someone. Some teacher saw you taking a picture of someone inappropriately, they may look for that picture because there's a cause. You understand what I mean? If cars on our school property are subject to search, the SRO or the principal is not going to search him unless he walks by him and, you know, he sees something that looks like a weapon. He's got cause. He smells marijuana. He's got cause. Then we can search it. That's just what that says. We realized when we sent that out, we actually have another one that's a little softer that kind of explains it a little better that will help. And that's some of those things. What we looked at is what schools sent out to other people, and we kind of use what they use. But that's a part of a pilot why we wanted to do it small, so we can get those questions. And I know some students were really scared, but we would never, you know, we don't search a student unless there's cause. Yeah, we wouldn't do that. Yes?
What's the word or the status on proposed renovations for Central?
Right now, it is the architect is working on a proposal, and they're going to bring it back to the board to present. So they have
For a new building, right?
yes. So and that's got of course, the county commission goes in the budget plan and things like that by March. So we want to have that done and be able to present to them. So hopefully they can, if they approve it, they can get it into their budget. We hope less than 40 million or 45 million or less, yes. That's what they're shooting for. Yes, yes.
What can we do if there are folks in the group or as a group to show support for that project?
Well, you know, I think there's some people who wanted Central High School totally on a green site, and there are advantages to that. One, you know, we could model it after Spring Hill Middle School and do all your athletics and all those things. And there are people who wanted to stay where it is, and, you know, we want to support that. But, you know, you're going to have to do demolition and rebuild. So I think the way you can advocate that, we may run into stuff that may cost more money. Because, you know, basically when you start to tear stuff down, you know, sometimes you get into stuff you don't anticipate. So I would think if you want Central to stay where it is, to, you know, advocate that, you know, we do need a new high school. We are, you know, the high school has been well kept, but it is, I think Central opened in 1963. And it's still a good plant, but I mean, it's very old so far as us adding technology or space and doing those things like that. We do need to change that facility to make it, you know, more into the 21st century. So those type things that we would be able to, that's what I would say. Yes?
It seems to me that our county school system suffers from a bad public perception. Mm-hmm. And from the little bit of work that I've done, it's not deserved. Mm-hmm. What is being done to counter that? And what needs to be done to counter that?
One thing, you know, we didn't have a public relations person 2 years ago. We do now, and that person's proactive in seeing the events that are going on at schools and things like that, getting that message out there that, you know, we do have good kids. We have kids that score 36 on the ACT, which is a perfect score. We have kids who are have scholarships to West Point and the Citadel and places like that. We do have those kids. We do have Beta Society, National Honor Society kids. We do have those type kids. So we're doing that to try to help put that message out. We continue to, you know, sometimes principals and teachers, they don't get their message out. We got to continue to work with them because they're working hard and they don't want to take the time to stop and do that. So we try to work with them to continue to get that message out that, you know, we do have some of the best kids and you know, we do work very hard to educate the children in Maury County. Yes?
Who is that person?
Who? Kim Doddridge? Yeah. Yes.
What's the poverty rate for our schools? Like what percentage are on free and reduced lunch? Or
It's about 56% right now,
school-wide?
countywide, right. Some of our schools have upwards of 90%.
Yeah.
We have
What's
five.
that threshold? Is it, what percentage of poverty to be eligible for free and reduced lunch? Is it?
Well, any kid that's,
3%?
I can't remember the threshold. I'm trying to think of what it
I
is.
think if you're on food stamps, you automatically qualify for the free, but I can't remember. I think there's a scale for the reduced.
But we have, yeah, about 56% of our students are free and reduced.
Well, Scott, I appreciate you coming.
Thank you. Great.
Um,
I enjoyed it.